This is the second part of a four-part series discussing different conflict styles. So last week I had prefaced it by saying that this is from the Gottman Institute, which is the leader in all things relationship research. And I went over the first conflict style, which is criticism. And the antidote to that is gentle startup. Real quick to recap, criticism is when you attack a person's character or their personality by saying words like "you always," instead of just pointing out what it is that you need or want. For example, you always talk about yourself, you're so selfish, instead of saying, I really need to vent about my day, I'm feeling a bit left out. Can we talk about me for a minute, right? So the first one is criticism, and you could do a gentle startup by talking about what you need. The one that I want to talk about today is contempt. And this one is a really important one because according to the Gottman Institute, it is the #1 predictor of divorce. Contempt is when somebody comes from a place of moral superiority. It's when they use things such as sarcasm, cynicism, name calling to bring the other person down and act above them. So this is a really important one to avoid at all costs. At all costs. Jersey and me came out, all costs. So the antidote to this one is to build a culture of appreciation. And I love this as a positive psychology coach because this is where you invest in that relationship bank account. You want to always be net positive. You always want to be having, especially in romantic relationships, you want to be sure that your ratio is at least 5-to-1. I'm an overachiever. I want 6-to-1, right? So for every time you act superior or make a contemptuous remark, you really want to make sure you're depositing 5 appreciative, gratuitous statements into your bank account so that at the end of the day, you're not in the negative. So this acts as a buffer for negative feelings about your relationship as a whole. Because if you're always feeling negative, contemptuous against the other person, and the other person is always feeling that from you, you're on the fast track to ruining this relationship. So you always want to make sure you're buffering it with a lot of positivity, a lot of gratitude, a lot of appreciation. So instead of saying, you're so lazy, you forgot to do this again, you never do, blah, blah, blah. You want to tell them, like, I understand. You want to come from a place of understanding, and you want to come from a place of wanting to be respectful. So it begins with a respectful request and ends in appreciation. So I understand you've been busy lately, but could you please remember to unload the dishwasher when I'm coming home late from work? It's a lot different than, you're so lazy. You really can't even do this small thing for me. You can't load a dishwasher. I've been working all day and you've been doing nothing, right? That's that moral superiority, and that is what you want to avoid at all costs.